Okay, so there's a high possibility that this phone is going to come down from the shelf because my books are trying to push him, and I don't know why. And also, I'm sorry, but I'm using artificial light since it is raining outside and it's really bad. Hello beautiful bookworms, my name is Katerina and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a very special collaboration video with a lot of lovely people, which, may I add, I'm very excited to see their videos. And this collaboration was an idea that Steve from the Law Gnome, that if you don't know, I'm going to leave a link down below, had, and it is part of his 10 for 12 collaborations. So it's sort of a thing where you make a list of 10 things for a given month, and for the month of May he talked to me and some other people, which I will try to leave all of their channels linked down below, to participate and to name our 10 series that we read because of BookTube, series or standalones or whatever we want to call them. And so I'm very thankful to Steve for this. He's truly one of the pillars of this community, is always so gentle with all of us, and he always tries to pump up all of the small booktubers to become bigger and better. And so I'm very thankful to him for actually doing this and inviting me, and I hope that you guys enjoy my list, and I do advise you to go check his out and all of the other people's lists out, which again I will try to remember to leave link down below. So without further ado, let's go check my 10 list of series or books that I read because of you guys, because of BookTube. First and foremost, I really need to mention Cassandra Clare's books. So I'm holding City of Bones, which is the first one in the Shadowhunter Chronicles how is it called? Mortal Instruments series. Yes, I always forget about this one. And I have also read Infernal Devices, and I still need to read The Dark Artifices. So as I said many times, The Mortal Instruments is not one of my favorite series of all time. It is fun, it was engaging, but I hated the main character and I was there for the secondary main characters. The Infernal Devices was better, I really enjoyed it, and I haven't read Dark Artifices yet, so I don't know if I like it or not, but I do have to thank BookTube for actually reading Cassandra Clare, because if it wasn't for BookTube, I most certainly will not have picked these up. First of all, because the series are really big, and although I enjoy bigger series, I had a lot of different thoughts about the Shadowhunter series. I thought it wasn't great. But then I heard a lot of people on BookTube talking about the series. I gave it a shot. I actually enjoyed most of the characters of the Mortal Instruments series, although the plot was a little bit strange, and I did really enjoy Infernal Devices, so yeah, Cassandra Clare for the first one. Another book that I read because of BookTube was Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, The Trials of Morgan Crow, and this one I absolutely loved. This is a middle grade book that I've heard everyone and their mothers recommend. Some of my favorite booktubers and some of the people which I converse more out of BookTube, so on BookTube Twitter or something, they thoroughly recommended this to me. I read it, I loved it. It's a beautiful middle grade story that you probably already know what it's about, so I'm not going to give a deep review about it, but it is so beautiful. I just recently read it and I already got Wondersmith, so I can progressively continue to read it, and I'm very happy that BookTube sort of forced me to read this because they were right. I loved it, and it was one of the best books that I read this year so far. Another book that I read because of BookTube was most definitely Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and this one I completely fell in love with. So if you haven't seen me talking about this book before, I have to tell you that I cried in the last 50 pages or 60 pages or something like that. It was painful, it was amazing. This was a very beautiful, heart-wrenching story. I absolutely adored it. I believe that we need more of these stories that deal with people of color as the main character, and that deal with racism as a main focus of the situation, but that also have some magic, some fantasy into it. We need more of this in our society, and I absolutely loved it. And for sure, I would not have reached into this or have not seen this if I have not been hearing a lot of reviews from the BookTube community, and if I have not known a lot of people were talking about this, because it will probably pass right over my face. I don't know why, because it has everything that I love, but I would probably never see it. So I am very thankful for this one. Another one of these books is Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. So this one was one of the biggest surprises that I had last year. I was not counting on reading this, but I heard so many people talking about this on BookTube, saying that they enjoyed it, that the series was great. There was a big series in development. I now have One Dark Throne to read, so I'm definitely going to continue with this series. And it's my boyfriend's fault because he did bought this for me because it's signed and it is a special Comic-Con edition, but it's also your fault because you guys talked about this so much. Then I thought, what the heck, let's just see what it is. And it's just such a gritty fantasy. I really enjoyed it, about three sisters that have to kill each other to reign, and it's just so much fun. Well, not really fun, but fun, you know what I mean? And I really, really enjoyed it. So for the fifth one, we have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, obviously, because this one was hyped as heck on BookTube this year, and I for sure would not have made such an investment in this book if I haven't heard people that I actually really did trust hyping this up and telling me that I couldn't live without this gigantic beast of a book because it was perfect and amazing. And obviously the cover and the story had a lot in my decision to buy it, because I don't buy stuff just because I hear people hyping them up. But for sure, BookTube had a lot of hyping up of this book and a lot of the reason why I wanted to read it. The next I'm going to be talking about is the series Daughter of Smoke and Bone and The Strange Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor. Laini Taylor basically would not be an author that I would know about if I have never watched BookTube, partially because in Portugal, Daughter of Smoke and Bone series is translated, but it has different titles, it has different things in the back cover, and I would never associate it with something that I would enjoy. And then I heard everyone and their mothers talking about these particular books, this author, and I read them, and I'm so happy because they are some of my favorite fantasy books. Oh god. And as I was saying, pretty sure that I would never have found these without BookTube. So many thanks to you guys, because I found a favorite author because of you. The next one that I talk about is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I am a person that has a strange relationship with thrillers and horror books in general, because I like the premises, but most of the time the construct and development of the plot always make me feel like this is not the thing that I will enjoy, and by the end of the thrillers or whatever books, I just say, okay, but I didn't like it. And Bird Box was completely different, and the only reason I picked this up was because I heard everyone and their mothers rave about Bird Box, and it is indeed as good as people say. Another one that most definitely has to be on this list, because without the peer pressure, I would never have read it, and that is the Grisha trilogy and currently the Six of Crows duology, which I am actually reading by the time that I'm filming this, which this video is pre-filmed, by the way, because I could not film this particular day. But as I was saying, the Grisha trilogy was something that I never thought I would read, because I heard people in that time where it was fun to say bad things about the Grisha trilogy for some reason. This is by Lee Bardugo, by the way, obviously you know it. I have heard people say so many bad things about this series, but also people saying that it was pretty fun, but then saying that it wasn't fun, but Six of Crows is great, but to read Six of Crows you had to read this one, but not really. But then King of Scars came out and you had definitely to read this one, and I was like, okay, this is peer pressure. I have to read this in order to understand if I like it or not. And I absolutely love this trilogy. I know that you guys are going to come for me, but I really like it. It's maybe one of my favorite trilogies that are actually young adult. I don't know, it was pretty fun, and I really enjoy the characters. I felt like there was development, and I felt that like the main character is not as boring and as desperate as you guys make her sound, but that is for another video about unpopular opinions, so let's just not talk about that now. But yeah, the Grisha trilogy is one of those that I only read because of BookTube, because for other reason I would never even have known that this existed. Also, one of my current favorite authors, Christina Henry, which wrote Alice, Red Queen, Lost Boy, The Mermaid, and now has another book coming out. I would never have found out about Christina Henry if it wasn't for watching BookTube. I cannot for the life of me remember which booktuber actually said that she or he was going to read this. I cannot remember, but somebody said it, and it was someone that I really, really follow and really enjoyed her content or his content. I believe it was a she, but I have no idea. And because of that, I picked this up and I decided to start reading Christina Henry, and I just now read in April Alice and Red Queen, and I absolutely loved it. It is so gory, so dark, twisting retellings. I love it, and now it's one of my favorite authors and an auto-buy author for sure, just because of BookTube, which is great. This just goes to show that you not only find out things that are incredibly popular and that you never heard about, but you also find out very hidden jewels in a very indie sort of secret place in BookTube, and that is so much fun. And lastly, I'm talking, okay, focus. Hello, dear friend. Okay, problem solved. So lastly, I'm going to talk about an author, but a particular book, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. If it wasn't for BookTube, I would never have figured out that V.E. Schwab was someone, okay? Because her books only started to get translated in Portugal fairly recently, and only the Darker Shade of Magic series, which I haven't read because I'm waiting for the conclusion to binge that shit up. So I read Vicious, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. I love it. I forced my boyfriend to read it. He loved it. So it wouldn't be this perfect without BookTube. I already read City of Ghosts as well, but I enjoy Vicious more, of course, because it speaks to the darkness in my soul. And now I have Vengeful to read. I have Darker Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows to read. And I love Victoria Schwab. I love everything she writes, and it's again an author by author for me. So I found so many great authors thanks to BookTube. So if I've been counting correctly, my 10 are already up. And if I have not, I will put in the description more books or whatever. Sorry, I cannot count and speak at the same time. I cough when I do that. It's not fun. So that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you again, Steve, for this opportunity. And guys, you should go follow him because he is indeed, as I said, a pillar of this community. He's such a great person and he deserves everyone hearing what he has to say, because normally what he has to say is pretty interesting and very valid. So just go to him and go to all of the people that participated in this, because these are our people, this is our community, and this is the people that we should support and that we should watch and with whom we should participate in stuff and be with. So yeah, that's going to be it for me for today for the 24/12 for May, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, leave a like or subscribe, and happy readings to you all. Bye!